Alright, part two of the jerk block build. Finally, I'm gonna start putting all these pieces together. So I made this doweling jig. Kind of mimics the joint genie. I have a 1/4 inch one, but I figured I needed a little more, a little wider dowels than 1/4 inch. So I used a 3/8. All I did is I used a piece of scrap and some bushings that I bought at Home Depot and insto facto doweling jig. As you can see, I put it to good use. I had a lot of holes to drill, and with the jig, actually just made it real easily. All I had to do was index with the last hole just to switch the dowel jig over, so it made it pretty easy to drill all these holes. I used this jig I made just with a couple drill bits to help make my own dowels, which if you can easily search dowel maker on YouTube and you'll see it. And these are all the dowels that I made. It's a lot easier, a lot cheaper, especially than going to Home Depot and buying the package of 20 or so. Here I'm just drilling out the handles. It's a lot easier on the drill press since they're all going to be the same, so I don't have to worry about moving the stop blocks over or anything. The only thing I figured out at the end that I should just drill halfway through to prevent the blowout. So a couple of the boards have a little bit of a blowout, but no big deal. And here I finally used this jigsaw on the table from Walkwell. I hardly ever use it. It was a gift, and then actually it was a lot easier to do it this time. Instead of using the jigsaw, all I had to do is throw it on there, flip it around, and then there we go. Done. Handhold. Now to assembly. So it all goes in pretty easily. Luckily, the all the dowels were nice and straight, so everything was pretty good. The only thing is that some of my cuts were pretty off, so I ended up fixing that later, and you'll see that. Now here I'm just notching out the supports that go on the inside so that they can sit on the blocks on each other and they don't shift. So it's going out pretty quick, and I set up a stop, a makeshift fence and a stop since I don't have a fence for my bandsaw. But that actually worked out pretty good. Now here I'm just moving the block over so I can easily go over and cut out the other piece since I have to do this to about 18 pieces. And it gets a little difficult once I get to the wider pieces. And even though it looks like it, my fingers are nice and clear from the blade since I still have them. And now the tops are going on. So I'm just using a couple dowels just to help align, not really for strength as much, a little bit for strength, but not too much. Everything else is going to hold it down. The glue will help a lot, and plus everything is going to be forced down because of the weight. So only worried as far as alignment goes for the dowels. And yes, lots of clamps. You can never have too many. Now here I'm just doing some pocket holes for the supports. If you can tell, this is the bottom box. So the bottom box is always going to be in the bottom, so I didn't have to notch out the corners for anything. And the pocket holes are just to kind of keep everything in line. Some of these are bowed, so it'll help with this. So the clamps are coming off, and now I can put the supports in. So I dated the sides, not the tops. I didn't think I needed to do that. So pocket holes, you'll flip it over and do the other side. Pretty easy. So the boxes are done. Now I have to work on the tops. Didn't know it until a little bit later, but actually the tops were the hardest part of the whole build, and you'll see why here in a second. Since there are 3 sheets of plywood glued together, I figured the easiest way was to do it on the drill press. So here I am, hogging all the stuff out. It did take a long time, just because there's a lot of material to remove, so that these can sit flush on each block. So I tried a lot of things, different jigs. This is what actually worked out the best. So here I just set my phone in just so that I can start recording the cut. And I went through a couple bits. Note to self: always buy good bits, especially when you removing a lot of material. So definitely helped out a lot. Here's the end result after a couple bits, and finally realizing that I should get good bits in the end. I get a nice clean dado. I wish they all look like this. Obviously, I'm only showing you the really nice one, but they fit in pretty nice. Didn't really record the top bumpers because they're just 3 pieces together, and I notched them at a 45 on the table saw. So anybody could do that. Well, not just anybody, since I'm building them for that person. Ha ha ha. So after a couple of days of sanding, here's the finished product. I'm actually pretty happy the way they came out. They're actually even, which was I was a little surprised about that, but they do look great. Hopefully they last, and hopefully this helps anybody who wants to avoid spending over $1,000 on these boxes that you can do yourself. From start to finish, it only took me about a month, working a couple hours here and there in the garage. So I hope this helps out anybody else who wants to do this. If you have any questions, just feel free to ask. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys liked it.